Hey everyone, I am Anthony Scott of ToyHypeUSA.com. Today we are doing a video review and unboxing of the HeroClix X-Men Rise and Fall of the Shi'ar Empire game booster brick, as well as some other offerings that are available starting in June 2021. If you can't find these yet, these are definitely coming within the next couple of weeks, so just be on the lookout. I want to thank Wizkids for providing all these for review. Greatly appreciate it. So, among the offerings, you see the dice and token pack, which is in the center. And with this offering, just like all others, you get 6 tokens, 2 dice. And there's a closer look there. Let's turn it to the side, giving you guys a look. And of course, let's take a look at the back here. So the characters for this include Cyclops, Colossus, Storm, Wolverine, Jean Grey, as well as Beast. The play-at-home kit, which I'm going to open in a couple of minutes, is the standard brown box, which you see right here. And there's some little bit of details about it. Doesn't tell you everything that's inside, so we're gonna take a closer look at that. And this, the 5-figure starter set. This is actually pretty neat. This gives you, 6-figure, I apologize for that. This gives you a good start, and as well as an idea of some of the characters that are probably in the booster bricks. However, a lot of these are probably the common characters, so depending on how many bricks you buy, you're probably going to have multiples of the characters that are in here. There's a look at the back here. So what I'm going to do is open this up. So here's a closer look at the 6 minifigures that are included in the starter kit. And let's take a look here. Professor X is the first one we're going to take a look at. There's a look. Very nicely done. Yes, Professor X doesn't require his wheelchair, as you see him without it. So that's pretty neat. This is Polaris, which you see her name right here. And she has her mutant power effect. Marvel Girl. And you see how I'm taking this out. I'm pushing it from the back, just to be very careful, as these are a bit on the fragile side. So just be aware of that. Marvel Girl, Havoc, so being very careful. There's a look at him. Thunderbird, or I should say Warpath, I apologize. So there's a look at his poses. Very nice. Comes with his dual blades that are not removable. And the last one, again, just very carefully and slowly removing it from the plastic tray. This one is Darwin. So that's a look at the 6-figure starter set that's included here. Also, inside the package are 6 cards that I almost missed. So, let's take a look at there. It's information about Professor X, and of course, the stats. Darwin. Polaris. Havoc, Warpath, and Marvel Girl. Here's an opening at the Play at Home kit. We're gonna take a look at this together. So right away you see the game board, which is all inside this packaging. It's probably double-sided. And you get a Deadpool figure, which you see right here. And that's all that's included in here. Here's a look at Deadpool, and interestingly enough, he comes with a removable slice of cake, which actually just fell on me. So just be aware that this is loose once you open it. And let's take him out of the packaging. And there's your closer look there. It says made in the 90s. And here's a closer look at the back, as well as the game details on the top of it. His name is right here in white. And here is a look at the card. Here is one side of the game board, and I'm going to bring it in closer, giving you guys a look here. You see each one of these boxes have a letter and a number. And there's various art that you see throughout it as well. Here is a look at the other side. This one is in a light blue. That says Danger Airlock right there. You see all these various artwork, very nicely done. All right, so what do you say we get started on the booster brick? Here's a closer look at the brick. This includes 10 bricks in each set, 70 total figures in the entire collection. Inside each brick are 17 common figures, 17 uncommon figures, 16 rare figures, as well as 2 primes, 12 super rare figures and 2 primes, as well as 8 chase figures. Each brick has a price point of $149.90. So to collect all 70 of them, including all 12 super rare figures, you're going to need at least 12 bricks, but most likely more, as there's probably duplicates out there and things like that. So you're looking at picking up more than 12 if you don't want to trade with friends and things like that. But moving on to the artwork, you see the artwork on this is very nicely done. It's comic inspired, and I think they did a very nice job on it. You see Deadpool standing on his cake here, which I showed you that minifigure earlier in the review. X-Men Rise and Fall, but what you don't see is the rest of the title of the Shi'ar Empire. The top of this has a legacy card that we're going to take a closer look at. Side of this has some characters that may or may not be included in this particular brick. We'll be taking a closer look at that. Here's a look at the back. And here is a look at the other side of additional characters that may or may not be in this particular brick. We will find out. So, what I'm going to do is cut this legacy card off very carefully. Okay. So notice when I ripped it up so I don't accidentally rip the card. Okay. And here is a look at the card. This one is of Apocalypse. And here's a look at the back. Here's a look at the other side. Nice foil cover here. All the character details for the game, the stats including. So what I'm going to do now is take off this wrapping and let's take a closer look. Alright, so now that we unwrapped it, let's take a closer look at these. We're going to open one together and then the rest I'm just going to do off camera and then show you guys. But to open this up, you want to cut the tape off the top. Then you want to rip this as shown. So once you get that, you're going to be able to just slide this out. And there's nothing else in the box there. And then you're going to get a plastic tray with the cards put on separately. And to remove the figures, you're just going to be very carefully punch it down with your thumbs or other fingers. Just keep in mind that some of these might be a little bit more fragile than others, so just use the side of caution. Alright, so first character, Shadow King, which you see right here. It looks like he's possessed Wilson Fisk. A duplicate of Professor X that you remember from the 6-pack that I showed you. And I said that most likely you're going to see these characters offered in bricks. So here's Professor X. And you see his name right there. Cyclops. This is him. You can barely see the visor. It's very, very small. Camera just doesn't want to seem to focus here. Okay, sorry about that. Oh, why don't you want to work? All right, well, you basically get the idea. I do apologize. Should be focusing better. But anyway, you basically get the idea. You see the visor here, the X on his belt, as well as the bottom here. You have all those details and everything. And this one is Smasher, member of the Shi'ar Empire. So here's a closer look. And let's take a look here. And of course you have Wolverine in a pose. Very nicely done. Now that it's focused better, let's go back to Cyclops. Again, I do apologize. So you see the visor on him right there. It's very small, but it's very nicely done. The cards, let's just take these out. All right, so each character is going to have their own card. This one is Wolverine. Smasher of the Shi'ar gets a Starjammers comic cover. So why the camera couldn't focus on Cyclops, in case you were wondering, it's because it's so small that sometimes it has trouble focusing. But it focuses better on the cards because it's larger. Professor X. And the Shadow King. Here's a look at the next batch of characters. Starting this off with Callisto. Very nicely done. Nicely done sculpted details and paint wash. The Skinless Man. This guy has a really neat looking design here. And let's take a look at the bottom. So you'll notice that each character is standing on their own base. Apocalypse. Hellfire Club Guard. Holding a blaster here, and looks like some kind of communicator. And of course, a Sentinel. So there's your look at this batch. And of course, the cards. And there's your look there. Here's a look at the next batch. This includes 2 characters that were offered in the 6-pack that I showed you at the beginning of the video. But it also includes some really cool looking characters such as Kid Gladiator, which you see right here. Really good likeness on him. Emma Frost. There's your look there. This is one of those characters, Darwin. There's your look at him there. X-23. and Marvel Girl, which was also offered in the 6-pack. Let's take a look at the cards. Here's a look at the next batch of characters. Shi'ar Soldier, which you see right here. Colossus. And here's a look at the bottom of the base. Broad. This one has a really good sculpt. A few parts of this are made of like a soft plastic, which you can see my hand moving the arm a little bit. Polaris, who was part of the 6-pack at the beginning. And Hepzibah. Nice pose, dual blasters, very nice sculpt. And here's a look at this. The cards. Here's a look at the next batch. This one includes Colossus, which we just looked at. So obviously he's probably one of the common ones. There's a look there. It's still a great pose for him. Multiple Man without his mask. Let's take a look. Havoc is part of that 6-pack. This one is Carmela Oniscone, I believe. So, good pose. And of course, the Silver Samurai with his mask on. Very nicely done. And of course, let's take a look at the cards. Okay. Here's a look at the next batch. Wolverine and Sentinel we've already taken a look at. These are duplicates already in this brick. Here's a look at Sentinel. Still a great looking Sentinel. Sabretooth. Here's your look there. Corsair, leader of the Starjammers, and Cyclops and Alex Summers' brother. Father, I meant to say, excuse me. The sword is not removable, and neither are the weapons, in case you were wondering. And of course, we have Blink. Showing her mutant power. And let's take a look at the cards. Here's a look at the next batch. Multiple Man just took a look at, but here he is again in the center. And he is unmasked. The Dark Beast. Great character. First seen in Age of Apocalypse. This is Broad. He's a tiny little guy, but great pose. Loving that head sculpt they gave him. The Blob. They really did a nice job on him. Nice pose, great attention to detail. There's his name right there. And we got Impulse. Let's take a look at the cards. Here's a look at the next box. This one includes multiples of what we've already seen. Including the Broad, which I just showed you guys. One of his wings came detached in the packaging, so I just plugged it back in, and it seems to be holding in pretty well. My guess is that glue is not required. Lilandra. Happy to see her. There are 2 boxes left, so I was wondering if she was going to show up in this one. Warpath. We've seen him in the 6-pack, and I think one other time in this brick so far. Longshot. And we just took a look at this blob figure in the last box I just opened. So let's take a look at the cards. Here's a look at the next batch. War Star again in this box, but Exodus is one we haven't seen yet. Very nice pose, good paint wash on the cape, excellent deco. Myra Mctaggart. Here's a look at that. Let's turn her around. You can see how she's standing. Funny, she's leaning as shown. Mystique. She's also a little bit oddly positioned as her head is turned this way, off to the side. But she is holding two knives, which is pretty neat. Raza of the Starjammers, a character that you don't normally see made into a figure or collectible or otherwise. The last time I saw a collectible of him was the early 90s, back when Toy Biz was doing the 5-inch line. So getting him in Wizkids is, I think it's a gift. Definitely a nice addition. And we just took a look at Warpath at least twice already. So let's move on to the cards. This is actually, I see, this opens up. So here's your look there, and here's your other look. Rest of the cards. All right, we got one more to go. Let's see who's inside. Here's a look at the last one, which was a little disappointing in my opinion, as Magneto came broken inside the box. And you can see where his foot snapped off. You can glue it on, but the way it's snapped, I think it's just gonna break off again if you're not extremely careful. But here's a look at Magneto. Comes helmeted. Still a great pose for him. And here's a look at the base. Again, I'm disappointed that happened. The Skinless Man we've seen once before. In fact, a couple of these we've seen at least once before or more. This is Deathbird. Great pose and likeness. They really did a nice job on her. The Shi'ar Soldier. And Darwin we've seen at least 3 times already. So there's your look there. And of course, let's take a look at the cards. So there's your look at a complete unboxing of a brick, as well as everything else that Wizkids was kind enough to send along. Thank you again to Wizkids providing all this for review. Greatly appreciate it. My suggestion, if you're into HeroClix and the game, pick up a brick or more. It's It's a fun game. Loving the characters. Each one are individually painted, and they did a great job on every single figure that I've checked out. I am a little disappointed that Gladiator and Warstar weren't offered in this brick, which you see on the cover here. That one's Gladiator fighting Colossus, and Warstar is up there. They're two of the more memorable, recognizable members of the Shi'ar. I was hoping to at least get one of them, but I did get Kid Gladiator, which is something, you know, in one of the first boxes that I had opened. So at least there's that. I am Anthony Scott of ToyHypeUSA.com. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more coverage as I have another HeroClix brick to unbox, which is not a Marvel one. It's something else. So come back next week and check that out. Thank you again for watching, and stay tuned for more coverage.